Dedicated to reinventing vegan food culture, Pinky Cole, the founder and CEO of the hugely successful Slutty Vegan restaurant empire, announced her new upcoming cookbook. With several locations in Atlanta, her crave-worthy, indulgent menus attract both locals and visitors to wait in now infamous long lines down the block for her vegan burgers and more. She's also changing the world with her philanthropy and activism. She is the founder of the Pinky Cole Foundation, which provides a roadmap for Black economic progress achieved by creatively leveraging economic opportunities, successful risk-taking, and innovation. The Chicago Defender spoke with Pinky Cole on her thriving business, why philanthropy is so important, and how her business model can also serve as a blueprint to help revitalize Black communities. Okay. Well, thank you so much for talking to the Chicago Defender. I really appreciate it. I wanted to ask you, there have been so many businesses the past couple of years that haven't experienced what you have, which is growth and expansion. Can you talk to me about what makes Slutty Vegan a success, where you've been able to expand at a time where people have been able to close or even fold?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. I get that question a lot. And now that I've had time to really dissect it and think about the real formula to the success of Slutty Vegan, it really is simple as put authenticity, right? So the business is a reflection of who I am as an individual. When you get into my space and my energy, it's going to be real. It's going to be raw. It's going to be transparent. How I talk to you is the same way I'm gonna talk to a billionaire. It doesn't shift, and it's a very warming energy. So when you think about Slutty Vegan, it's that same energy. So when I talk to people about the success of the business, it's because we do what people want. We want people to feel familial. And when we make it familial and make it a place where people can feel safe, then of course they're going to want to support and they're going to want to be a part of the mission. But between that good energy, the amazing marketing that we have, and the fact that we have a story that's a win for all people, Black people especially, that here you have a concept that started as a mom and pop that not only creates an ecosystem for community, but also shows what leadership and business looks like from a Black-owned perspective, a woman-owned perspective, a minority-owned perspective. So we cross so many check marks off the list that people love us and they continue to support us, and they have been supporting us for the last almost 4 years, because we will turn 4 August 6th this year.
Wow. I said, it's always interesting, especially, with the pandemic, we've been kind of looking at how we eat. Can we live better? What are some small things that we can do? And one of the common misconceptions is going plant-based is too much. It's gonna cost me too much money. I got kids. I'm not gonna do that. Can you talk to making plant-based lifestyle affordable? Is it as expensive as everyone thinks?
No, it's all about your mindset. I tell people this all the time. You wake up and you brush your teeth every single day, right? You wake up and you shower every single day. You program your mind to make a conscious decision to do something every single day. And that literally is what plant-based living is. Programming in your mind to do something consistent every day to make yourself better in whatever capacity that is. So, for example, you go to the grocery store, you go to the produce aisle. It's cheaper to buy food from the produce aisle than it is to go to an aisle where you get just canned food and meats and all of that stuff. It's cheap. So when people say it's too expensive to eat vegan, I'm like, you a lie. Because I can go into the grocery store and get sweet potatoes, and I can get onions and broccoli and cabbage, and then I can get my brown rice, and I can eat all of the amazing things that people love, which we consider sides. And I can feast. And although I'm guilty, I love starches, right? But I can still indulge in all the things that I like without having to eat meat. And it does not cost me a lot of money. It's about us getting that ignorant mindset out of our consciousness and really thinking about how we can reprocess our energy and our mindset to think about the food in a different way. Vegan is reimagining food in a different way. And I'm showing people that veganism doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be hard to come by. I'm putting Slutty Vegan in neighborhoods that are food insecure, vegan insecure, areas where people probably wouldn't see vegan food, and making it accessible. It's always been accessible in the grocery store. You just got to go inside and do it, but it's definitely not hard. And I encourage people, even if you don't go vegan, right? Just start to replace some items in your diet and your lifestyle, and I promise you, you'll start to see the difference.
Mm-hmm. Well, talk to me about the cookbook. What was the inspiration? What made you decide now's the time for me to release a cookbook?
So, when the idea to do the cookbook came, I'm like, okay, all right, people really love Slutty Vegan. So how can I take this experience home? Right? How can I get people to take this experience that they see when they come into my restaurant and bring it into their own kitchens? So I said, I'm going to create a cookbook where you can make all the raunchy recipes, all the fast food recipes, all the comfort food that you love that includes meat. And I'm going to make them plant-based. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you there are no animals included in any of these recipes, and it's going to taste just as good. So there's 91 recipes in the cookbook. And I'm excited about it because every single recipe is so amazing. And it even got stamped and approved by Miss Patty LaBelle, Chris Paul, and Mr. Robert Smith. So for the people who want to learn how to eat more plant-based, even if you don't want to go vegan, this is the perfect book for you. Put it in your kitchen, hell, put it on your coffee table, but Eat Plants-Based is definitely something that's going to redetermine and allow people to rethink about food, especially plant-based food.
And when you were picking out the recipes, I know you said some were coming from your restaurant. Where did you get the inspiration for the other recipes that were going into the cookbook?
Food I like to eat. I'm a foodie. I love to eat. Let me tell you something. I'm not the average vegan, okay? Like, I love really good comfort food, and I can go to every single restaurant and like, let me talk to the chef, make me something good. But like, you don't have to deprive yourself just because you are plant-based. And I think that that's a big misconception. A lot of people think that when you go plant-based, you can't have all the things that you love. And that's not true, because I eat all the things that I love. So I wanted to put it in the book so people can, again, feel safe knowing that, okay, all right, I can eat this. It still tastes good. I wouldn't even know the difference that this is vegan versus non-vegan, because it tastes just like the quote unquote real thing. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of my mindset the whole entire time. And I think that I achieved that. And I'm looking forward to the honest feedback from when the meat eaters actually try it for the first time.
Yeah, we've been in our own home have been trying to go meatless at least twice a week. Like, we've been trying to just start the process. And my mother did it, I think, like the first 90 days of the year. And she always talks about how much energy she had.
Yes.
Like she said, more than anything, she just had an enormous amount of energy. And as a journalist, I'm trying to capture some of that. That
energy is real.
Yeah.
The energy is real. So when I went vegan, I had a Jamaican restaurant a couple years back. It was called Pinky's Jamaican and American Restaurant. And at the time I was vegetarian. So I wasn't eating chicken, but I was selling chicken and telling people that the chicken tastes good, but didn't know what it tasted like. Right. So clearly I wasn't in alignment. That's a whole nother story. Right. But when I decided to go vegan, it literally was like overnight. And the minute that I did that, not only did I have a different level of energy, but my mental clarity was on a whole nother level. It was like being on a natural high. It was like smoking and you don't even smoke. Right. But like my frequency was on another level. And the way that I started thinking about food, in particular, every time I look at the back of a box or the back of a product, I got to read it. I can't just eat nothing without knowing what I'm eating. And veganism did that for me, but that energy is unmatched. So she was definitely right. And I'm so glad I did it. It was the best decision I ever made in my life.
Mm-hmm. I've heard people talk about the energy. I had not heard anyone kind of put it in the space of my mental clarity in addition to my physical energy. So that's dope. Some of the recipes can you tell me some of your favorites that are in the cookbook?
Ooh, so we got a spaghetti. I love spaghetti.
lover, so
Yes, I love pasta. Ooh, Lord, that's my kryptonite.
right.
So we got spaghetti, we got some breakfast sandwiches. We got a Philly cheesesteak. I'm from Baltimore, so I grew up on eating Phillies.
Mhm.
Um, we got some scramble. We got some good stuff in there, I'm telling you. So you got to pre-order the book and then get it, and then you'll be able to see all the amazing things that we have. But there's something for everybody, whether you want dessert, whether you want breakfast, or if you want lunch or dinner. It's definitely something for everybody.
You mentioned that you had put your restaurants intentionally into communities that were suffering from food insecurity. Philanthropy has always been intricately tied to the work that you've been doing. Can you speak to why that's so important for you?
So I grew up around women helping people. My mother has always been selfless. We're Jamaican, so like you scratch my back, I scratch yours. You make sure that the person next to you is good, even if you don't have much, because that's just how we were born and bred. So I adopted that from my mother. So throughout my life, I've always been this way. So now that I have the platform and the resources through Slutty Vegan, I said, okay, I'm going to start a foundation to continue to do all that I've always been doing. I'm just formalizing it. So what the Pinky Cole Foundation does is we help to bridge that generational wealth gap. And it's important for me as a Black-owned, woman-owned business to be able to show people this is what you do when you get on. Right? When you get on, you utilize your resources to help other people win. Because it ain't no fun if I'm just winning by myself, right? Like if we can all win together, that's how we create the ecosystem. And that ecosystem will provide opportunities for employment. It will provide opportunities for small business owners. And I'm like, let me do something that I've never really seen before. And now I'm a leader in that space, and I see other entrepreneurs and business owners doing it, and it makes me feel really good because that is how the collective wins together.
And just having that mindset where it's not just about me coming up, but me coming up and I'm bringing my people with me.
And I'm bringing my people with me. And then as far as the food deserts and the food insecure areas, I have been able to win in the restaurant space because I'm also buying the real estate. So what I'm doing is I'm going into these vegan insecure areas, food insecure areas, areas that aren't so attractive by the big time developers. And I'm going into these spaces and I'm putting a Slutty Vegan there, but I'm buying the building. So I have a 70 to 30% portfolio. So when I buy the building, that means I own the dirt and then I own the business. So now I get to raise the value of the community in that area. And I'm also helping to support other businesses in the area because guess what? They can capitalize off of my long lines down the block, right? So now everybody eats. And it's been working for me so well because at the end of the day, if Slutty Vegan dies today or tomorrow, I still own the real estate and I've raised the value of a community. So we talk a lot about gentrification and we talk about people coming in and steal our communities. No, we can go in our own communities and get our communities back. And that's exactly what I've been doing and it's been working. And that's the model that I'm going to keep as long as Slutty Vegan is alive.
I love it. I think, we need more, that whole mentality. We need more of it. We talk a lot about, especially some of our neighborhoods now being gentrified, and to have our business owners come into the community with that mindset can be transformative, in Black and brown communities around the country. So kudos. Can you tell everybody when your book is available, how they can get it?
Yes. So my book is available on pre-sale right now on Amazon, and it'll be available June 22nd, the hardcover. And I'm actually going to be going on a tour, a one-woman tour, and it's going to be called Eat Plants, Bitch. And that's happening around that time too. I'm just excited, and fortunately, I am number one on new releases. And a couple of days ago, I was like number 10 on bestsellers. And I'm like, hey, they didn't even read the book. And I'm on the bestseller list. So, yeah, it just feels good to know that I'm moving in the right direction. So if you want to learn more about the book, please go to Amazon. You can also go to sluttyveganatl.com to get more information or go to my personal page, Pinky907, to learn more about the book and the recipes and all that cool stuff.
I gotta ask you one more question. Where did the name of the book come from? Like, what made you say this is gonna be the title, Eat Plants, Bitch?
I'm crazy. And so I'll tell you something. So I used to be a television producer, and I worked at the Maury Show. So you know, Maury Show, that shock factor, like it's in your face, like you do stuff to get people to pay attention, all real, but making people pay attention is what's going to have them locked in. And down to the name Slutty Vegan, I knew that in order to create a sense of dialogue where I want people to pay attention, I have to get racy on the name. And then when I get you locked in, when you start to peel back the layers, you realize it has nothing to do with the provocativeness of what I'm saying, but it really is just a way to guide you into some truth and some light that I'm trying to share with you. So everything I do is that raunchiness in your face at first, and then when you realize, it's like, oh, this is a pleasant surprise. Right. And that's exactly what Eat Plants, Bitch is.
Pinky Cole's new cookbook features 91 vegan recipes from Cole herself, including Jamaican dishes from her childhood, tapas, and small plates created to celebrate and invoke joy. In addition to Cole's signature Southern comfort food, her new cookbook is available for pre-order now on Amazon and will be available for purchase at bookstores across the country Tuesday, June 21st, 2022.